Hello everyone and welcome to WhatCulture Gaming. My name is Jules Gill and I'm joined by the one, the only Ash Millman.
Hello.
And today we have some piping hot piss to pour in your ears because yes, there is more news. There is more news on Fallout 76. There's more news on secret developers working on secretly games, secretly, and also China's trying to ban all our fun. So what do?
Hit the jingle.
Here's the news delivered in a flash. Time for Jules and time for Ash.
And we are back in the room, and let's kick things off today by talking about the big headline that China, amidst all of the chaos and utter horror that is going on in Hong Kong at the moment, that is not a fun situation to be in, have announced that they are looking to curb video game addiction in their country, that many officials fear has actually gripped the entire nation. And the way they're doing that is that they are going to try and put a curfew on video games for minors.
Ooh, that's an interesting way of doing it. I feel like, there's so much stuff that like lends itself towards gaming being an addictive thing and it being a problem, and loads of stuff that stems from that. But also, like having an official government mandated curfew feels a lot.
It feels every day like we're slipping ever closer to Black Mirror becoming a very, very pertinent reality. But let's detail what they're trying to do, because some of it does actually sound like it's a positive step, but the way that they're implementing it, as you say, it's a bit touch and go. So under the new rules, gamers aged under 18 will not be allowed to play online games, so it's just online games they're focusing on for the moment, between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m.
Oh, that's ludicrous. That's a curfew in that sense, like, as in I thought it'd be like a timed thing, but like just overnight.
No, it's a blanket thing. Like to be.
What if that's the only time you get free?
I know, but that's the thing. I mean, think about it this way. It's notorious that the schooling system in China is incredibly heavy.
Yeah.
Like homework and like after-hours clubs and things like that. They're like, it's not even like encouraged. It's like mandatory, and therefore free time is going to be at an absolute minimum. But then again, if you're under 18, you should be in bed at 10 p.m. anyway.
Oh, I say.
You should be.
I say, let the kids do what they want, man. Like.
Well, let's put it this way. If you grew up in a free household, look how you turned out.
Thanks, Jules.
No, I'm just kidding. So that was awful. I didn't like the way that you took that seriously. And on weekdays, the same group of age group can only play for 1.5 hours a day. So that's on their weekend. That's their free time completely. And that increases to 3 hours if it's a public holiday.
I don't know. I feel like that's a bit much. For me personally, I feel like that's a bit much.
I have to work my way back because I have actually got that slightly wrong. It's 1.5 hours on the weekdays.
Okay.
It's 3 hours on the weekends and national holidays. Apologies for that. But it's not just playtime that's going to be affected. It's actually going to be the amount of money that can be spent by those age groups online, which is something that I do find very interesting, because I don't feel like you should be able to tell people what they do with their free time. I feel like that is inhibiting their choices. But I do think that anything that's put in place to prevent gambling or minors being taken advantage of by gaming and gambling and stuff like that, that is actually something that I would like to see.
Of course, and anything that can sort out gambling, definitely, but also free time and money should be something that you have your own control over. Like, it's your money and you want to spend it on things, that should be a thing, but there should be measurements in place that stop it being a negative hobby, you know what I mean?
There's pros and cons for like both sides, and it's very, very hard to balance. Like, I wouldn't want to be in charge of making any of these decisions. But it says here that gamers aged between 8 and 16 years old can spend or top up 200 yuan per month, and those aged between 16 and 18 can top up 400 yuan, which is about like 20 and 40 quid, like respectively for the thing. So like, if you're spending more than 40 quid a month on mobile games, because this is what they're rolling them out for the moment, that is actually quite like a lot of money to be spent. I think.
Yeah, definitely, but I don't know if it's just I find this hard to deal with. I'm not like as in all the different things being in place for this sort of thing. So obviously they're doing it from a point of research, but also like if people want to spend their time playing games and that's where they have an escape from, that's where they enjoy things. You want to have a big session on a weekend where you play a game for ages, or spend a bit of money on it because it's what you've saved up for. You've had birthday money, you got this, that, the other. Like, or I don't know, you come into a bit of cash and you want to be able to spend it how you want. I know these these are young children, or younger, under 18, which obviously is a big part of it. But I also think if you can be given autonomy to do a lot of things under 18, then you should also be allowed to choose what you spend your money on and where you spend your time when you're not in a rigid school system or like any sort of system, because work is rigid as well. Like all of it's like free time.
Because video game addiction is like a serious thing. Like it's been recognised now as an actual condition.
Yeah.
So anything that can help curb that is good. But when it comes into how it's implemented in practice, this sort of stuff seems incredibly controlling, especially when I detail now about how they're going to go about actually doing the age identification.
I feel like it should be. I feel like it shouldn't go straight to bans and curfews. I feel like it should be warning systems in place, like you have spent this much, you have spent this much time, or like messages that come up that are like positive reinforcement of maybe you should take a break, like this. Like when you're driving really long time and you get
they say like
don't
take a break.
Fall asleep. Like it should be like that, but like more like okay, this is the problem with this. Like smoking, where it has all the warnings on the packet. It's up to you what you do when you smoke, but it's like you have all the warnings there.
Well, if these are like the target age groups that they want to protect, then surely they should be looking more into ways of developing systems that actually alert and identify it with the parents, so that therefore, if your child is spending X amount of times over it or spending that, then you get alerts to your phone saying, "What are you doing?" sort of thing. Like that should be the first step, maybe. I don't know if that's already in place, but it seems like a really obvious first step. But how they're going to identify this, according to the Ministry of Public Security, is that they are going, the Administration of Press and Publication is going to be working with the Ministry of Public Security to build a unified identification system. And now this system is going to be given to game companies, which they could then implement into their games to identify ages, which would allow them to be cross-checked by state records. Now, as this is mobile gaming, that implies that there's going to be something to do with either facial recognition and a database full of children and an entirety of state records and cross-checking and companies having access to all that data. I know that this is air quotes done under the banner of let's protect these kids, but aren't you actually just delivering an entire database of information to the exact companies that are actually trying to market to those kids?
Do
you see what I mean? Like it seems like
this is all a lot. This is all. I feel like. All I can think about is growing up and how much games like helped me outside of school and outside and in my free time, and how talking to people online as well, like was as in like my friends, being able to communicate with them through games and all that sort of thing was a big part of it, and having that like cut off.
Seems really strange almost in a way, doesn't
Obviously the gambling needs to be curbed and stopped and educated on. I think education's the most important part.
What it seems to do is it's trying to retroactively fix a problem that if they went back to the core and just said, hey, you can't market these games as kids and do that, then they wouldn't need all of these things. This is kind of like making itself an industry to deal with a problem that just shouldn't be in existence in the first place. Government officials have said that we're going to gradually perfect and enrich the functions of this identification system to achieve gaming time data sharing across platforms, so that we could know and therefore restrict the total time every minor spends on gaming across platforms. Now, this isn't actually the first time that China's tried to regulate the gaming market and how much time people have spent on video games, because back in 2018 there was a big call to action by research groups that said that children were actually showing up to be nearsighted, and that was because of heavy amounts of gaming that were right there.
Is that not just screen use though? In modern society where we're on phones, we're on computers, like our job is computers and screens and being on phones and that sort of thing. Like I feel that comes from everything, but I don't know if it has been proven to be gaming, then
to try and like keep it away from the current political situation of what's going on with China obviously seeking to control a lot of free speech and things like that. I feel like this country trying to control yet another free time is a slippery slope, very slippery slope. But yeah, Tencent finished this off because they are the world's largest sort of mobile platform company. They have obviously received quite a lot of complaints in the past about how they detail their games and how long people spend on there, and they've actually started saying, we will put in the curfew style things. We will make sure that people aren't playing this from dawn till dusk, because at the end of the day, well, they're making shed loads of money either way, so it's a good PR move for them to do. So it does look like companies will actually be keen to take this on.
It's up to the root of the issue to be solved, isn't it? It's like not marketing to young children. It's giving them options that like allow them to be flexible with it. And I don't know. It's a big old thing. It's what we want to hear your opinions on this as well.
Definitely,
so please comment below.
Definitely. But yeah, so that was the sort of serious, hard news. Now let's move into some light one, because I feel like that's got a bit of a weird aftertaste.
Yeah. So
Tastes like licking pennies.
Disgusting.
Am I having a stroke?
I hope not, because if not, then I've got some good news for you.
Imagine if I just died. Imagine if I died on the job like that. Go on then, tell me some good news.
So basically, we've got a new game coming out.
That's news.
That's it. That's all I know. It's basically from Stray Bombay, which you will know as Chet Felisnik's studio.
Yes.
Excuse my pronunciation, Chet Felisnik. And he's the writer behind Half-Life 2 episodes, both the Left 4 Dead ones and the Portal games, and also Counter-Strike Gulliver Offensive. So they are releasing a new one, which is actually really exciting when you think of Portal, when you think of Half-Life, when you think of the writing quality behind those games.
If you look at sort of like best narratives in video gaming, they're usually at the top. I mean, maybe not Left 4 Dead, but I mean, obviously Portal is so up there.
Exactly, like this is the good stuff. This is the creme de la creme, and he's going to offer us a new game, which is going to be a first-person network shooter. So that is
first-person network shooter.
First-person network shooter. So it's like a co-op online sort of multiplayer thing as well.
Sorry, network as in that. I thought you meant network as in like you go to Fox and blaze up. I don't know, like.
Fox. But no, it was basically they previously stated that they're only interested in co-op, but this is what they're going to do instead. So they're going to. The quote about it is, "We're giving you 20 to 30 minute play session where you complete something, come back, and you want your character, you play characters," and that's kind of how he's described it. So he's working together with another co-founder for Stray Bombay in making it, and they're kind of looking at ways that they can do matchmaking and make it fun that way.
30-minute sessions where you play as characters. I mean, that definitely sounds like the description of Left 4 Dead more than anything like that. I mean, that'd be great if they could come up with something like if they could come up with anything similar to what that game has basically pioneered, perfected, and then managed to get everyone else to try and copy, then that'd be fun. That'd be great.
Exactly. So they're saying we're going to make it easier and harder because if we're tracking them over sessions, we can understand them. Them being us. So basically, they're going to apply things via data. I just realised I gave that quote without the proper context. They're going to be taking the data of matchmaking sessions and then changing the difficulty and qualities that come with it to give you an interesting and mixed up play sessions. They'll make it easier. Cool. They'll make it harder. They'll assess how you play a game with your friends, all this sort of thing. So it's like the patents we heard before about I think Activision and Ubisoft have all that sort of stuff where they kind of assess matchmaking. They're kind of taking that on board and doing something similar and kind of applying a game that revolves around that in short, tiny bursts.
Well, the Left 4 Dead series was very famous for having its director AI, which was the one that determined whether or not it would spawn loads of enemies in to like push you forward, or if you're finding it really tough, it would ease up a little bit. So if they're applying the same sort of mentality to the matchmaking system to make sure that you were matched up with the right players who played in certain ways and therefore then I feel like that would be a really good step forward.
It kind of assesses who you're in the lobby with. So if you pair it with someone, it'll assess how you guys have played that game together and how you want to carry on with it. But like another thing they've said is we wanted to remove all technical risk, and they're going to use the Unreal Engine. So it makes a lot of sense.
I mean, they are so well versed with it now.
Exactly. We're going to ship a game that does not break ground with any new technology at all. We're going to do it with our specialness on top of existing technology and make it our own. From day one, we play tested, and every single day we play test.
I mean, fair play. That sounds really interesting. Colour me interested. Chet, big thumbs up.
Big thumbs up. Thanks, Chet. But and then just to move on from the joys of potential network online gaming.
I'm setting up the goalposts. Is she going to score?
To the not so joyful moments of this thing. In Fallout First, basically.
Oh, the ball's hitting the bar.
Fallout First we're going to, which is more Bethesda messiness because we love a bit of Bethesda messiness.
This game is just like, you know that that scene in Scrubs where Elliot is digging the grave and she's basically like burying herself as she's like, I just think I could do that. That is what Fallout 74 is like. It's like, don't worry guys, you can pay for your DLC. Don't worry, it's hidden behind a paywall.
Yeah, but they've basically, Polygon did a piece with the Apocalyptic Aristocracy, which is a group that have set themselves up in Fallout 76 with that they're all Fallout First members. So they've taken the $12.99 membership per month. They have had their subscription service. They are wearing all the finest clothes the MMO has to offer and are running around calling everyone that doesn't have a subscription a peasant and being generally very rude. And like they're playing up to this comic caricature villainous character, basically.
Right, okay.
They've started a class war.
Like, as we said before, you can do whatever you want with your time and money, but at the same time, why give this company, who have got an absolute bomb on their hands, money just so that you can run around and make a meme?
I know. It's literally posting at its finest. Like the only thing this group exists for is posting and making people believe that it is way worse than it is in the actual game, because they're like playing up to it so much and making everyone think, oh my god, there's all these like rich, wealthy, affluent Fallout First players like stamping on the little man, and then all the people who don't have it are fighting back. Apparently someone got beaten up with a load of bear costumes on. There's all sorts going on with this game.
This game is weird. It's proving to be like bringing out the worst in people.
Just go and play the Outer Worlds. Like, just go and play the Outer Worlds.
You don't have to pay $12.99 a month to go and have fun.
Yeah, but Polygon basically kind of finished up with saying, so far the group has gotten together photo shoots where they dress up and embrace their status as premier Fallout 76 members, but there are also plans to have red carpet events, hunting parties, duels, and perhaps the establishment of official noble houses to take the roleplay to the next level.
I don't understand. This is like those YouTube channels that you see where really, really rich, stupid kids buy themselves like the brand new iPhone and they chuck it in like a pool of gunge and they'd be like, oh, I'm destroying it to annoy people. It's like, yeah, you are annoying a lot of people because you're a waste of space.
One of the players says, we know Fallout 76 isn't perfect, but developers don't work for free, so we do what we can to help fund the improvement and expansion of the game. And you know what? If it is improving and expanding and getting better and working on whatever the hell it started off as, maybe that's something. But yes, Fallout 76 has created its own class war.
No. I'm stopping you there. You say that. Do you believe any of the words you've just said?
No.
Yeah, I thought so. Bloody hell. That's really got me fired up, that has. Right, well, there we go. There's been the news from aristocracy to curfews on video gaming. Let us know what you thought about down in the comment section below. And if you'd like to chat further, my name is Jules Gill. You can follow me at RetroJ with a 0 over on Twitter. And you can follow Ash Millman at
Ash Millman.
Damn right you can. We hope that you have a fantastic day, whatever you are getting up to. Enjoy playing your video games as long as you want. And we'll speak to you soon. And don't join the aristocracy. Eat the rich.